Hi, welcome. On this video, I want to take a moment to respond to a response, okay, I have received in one of my videos regarding this individual saying that looking at how I approach training, that their dogs wouldn't be agreeable or motivated to the methodology, okay, based on the fact of how trainers go about building a picture. And again, this is one of the really challenging things. I'd encourage people to think about that, but not just challenging the source of the problem. You consider right at the very beginning how people are motivating dogs to respond, dogs that are already holding a level of control in the relationship, and wonder, again, at the same time, wondering why it is that things aren't lining up. It should make sense. Now, this is again, I understand this is a difficult thing. And this is what all trainers do, is they just are so focused on how do I motivate, how do I motivate the dog, use something the dog likes to motivate them to respond. That is the wrong way, okay? That is the wrong way to think about a process. I want to tell people that. I mean, that's like so entrenched, right? That's just how it is. That's just how trainers go about building the picture. I mean, that is the popular approach. That balanced dog trainers do the same thing, even when they use a negative to do it. Okay, we can get this thing about using a negative to build a picture or a positive, but it's this whole thing with response. The problem by way of, in a very superficial way, to engage a process and then somehow think that it's lining up the way that you think it is. In generating response that way, okay? And so it's very superficial. But again, I do understand people's thought process, but here's the thing about, I talk about interactions, because people will look at this thing about motivation, fun, reward, right? And they're so caught up in this that if you look at the type of interactions, how I'm going about doing it, is people will assume that just because I do it different, that it must mean this, all right? They have a way of thinking, right? Well, then it automatically must mean that you're being mean to dogs, that you're the influence part of that within these interactions is doing something to break the spirit or drive of the dog, that you're suppressing the drive of the dog. See, all those words, like, you just see it. But then if you look at what they're doing, they can't get their mind around it, and then they can't get their mind around why this isn't lining up. So how you need to look at it is, it'd be like a parent who is interacting with the child in specific ways, in reasonable ways. See, that's the whole thing, is understand about what's reasonable. You have to define the interaction and how influence intersects, intertwines that interaction, okay? So it's about, a parent, right, establishing parental influence based on interactions which are reasonable. And here's the thing, how you have to think. You have to think different. That the child comes into agreement with, okay? A dog comes into agreement with, okay, based on making sense of these interactions. So that's the motivator. You have to think different to get a different result. I mean, that's the bottom line here. And here's the thing, people go on all day long about they can't understand it, they can't, get their head around it, yet they will still blame dogs, okay? They'll still go the other direction and just sell out, right? Just sell out and think somehow that it's the dog's fault. I mean, think about that. Think about that perspective. All right, they're not willing to try. They're not willing to consider. They're not willing to even draw that comparison, which makes complete sense. But they're very willing to sell out and very willing to compromise and blame dogs. I mean, that's okay, right? That's okay, so long as they feel good about what they're doing in a very superficial way, because it's all about people's feelings, right? How they feel about it. I mean, that's where we're at, okay? So again, I would really challenge people to consider what I'm saying. It makes sense. Yes, it's different, but it's only different because of what all these people sold out to. Okay, that's the problem here, is what people bought into over the years. So understand that the issue about it not making sense is where we're at. It's not making sense because people are so far over the other way. So, I mean, how do you reconcile that? Of course people are going to be challenged, but think about it. So I would encourage people to take a serious look at what I show. There's depth to it, but that's what the relationship is anyway. There's no escaping it. if you think somehow you're just going to engage in this superficial framing up of a picture, the way these trainers are doing, and think you're not going to have problems, you're in denial. Okay, and don't go by mainstream dog trainers. I mean, there's problems happening for a reason, and it's going to get worse. It's escalating. So, you know, that's going to be the because it's going to turn into this force-free nightmare. It already is, because that's what people have compromised themselves. They've thrown common sense out the window, and they're not willing to apply critical thinking. You have to apply critical thinking. So I encourage people, instead of just these responses, it's almost like it's not even a question. People leave you know, comments on my videos. They're making statements, right? They're just saying, I'm just not going to try. I look at this and this doesn't work for me. Then why are you even making comments on? Why are you even looking at my videos, right? I mean, this is why people are unsettled to begin with. They're looking at my videos because clearly things aren't lining up, and they're looking for answers outside of this superficial narrative. And then when they find the answers, right, they don't know how to deal with it. Well, I mean, if you're a parent, you got to deal with it, right? I mean, think about being a parent. You just don't ignore the truth, the reality, what's happening, and think it's all about you and how you feel, and you're going to reject things outright. You have to investigate. So here's the thing: don't take the word of these mainstream dog trainers for anything. A lot of them have just dovetailed into this ideology. They haven't even asked tough questions at the beginning. Do you honestly think they're going to ask them now? No, they're just going to reject everything because they're taking the easy path. You know, the wide road to destruction. Okay, they're just taking the easy path. You know, it's not the narrow path they're taking the easy path. So, and that path is about, you know, consequences in terms of relationships, dogs and people. So don't take the easy path. Don't take the superficial path. Don't take the wide path. Take the narrow path. Break free from this foolishness and understand that, you know, you have to apply critical thinking. You have to investigate. You have to be willing to take that first step. Thanks for watching.